Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Judge Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics here, I am going to be talking about Gangbusters BX, the Expert Edition. This is put out by Wizard Tower Games, written primarily by Mark A. Hunt and Don Samora, and really excited about digging even further into this newly released 2025 edition of Gangbusters BX. So really excited about it, and it was mentioned on my channel in a comment section if I would consider focusing in on running a criminal campaign. And so that is what inspired this video, and I'm going to begin taking a look at that and talking about running criminal campaigns or in other rule systems. So sometimes we'll call this the evil character campaigns, evil PC campaigns, and they all have a very similar. I have a similar take with all of those, and I will get to that in just a moment. So I'm going to switch views here and go to the widescreen here. So yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Gangbusters BX, and just recently released. Just got this last week, so I'm really excited about digging into this. It came along with the Hustler's Guide to Rock Junction. I always want to say Junction Rock Junction, and this is a setting booklet, so if you don't want to set it in the real world, you can set it in this fictitious setting. The one adventure that I had written for Gangbusters BX quite a number of years ago, I set in New York City in 1923. Myself being a historian, I really wanted to try to capture the feel and my local, setting as well. So, but I am going to create a campaign and set it in this world setting just to get the full effect of Gangbusters BX. So I'm really excited about that. So let me talk a little bit about either evil campaigns or criminal campaigns. And the one thing that you have to remember is that you have to inform your players that are going to step into this type of campaign that they are not really meant to or expected to last for very long. When you are playing an evil character, you kind of you expand the adversaries list that you're going to be dealing with, and that includes amongst your own grouping as well. All right, because there is a lot of infighting and backstabbing and that kind of thing. Even if it is not direct PvP, player versus player, it will certainly be indirect. Where the way that I've experienced this in my own gaming experience was, both on the, delivering side as well as the receiving side, was it's more common, believe it or not, to leave your fellow companions leaving them out to dry, kind of leaving them in a circumstance where you don't expect them to return, and rather than a direct combat, amongst each other. Now, I've seen that as well, but I've never personally experienced that. I've never had another player character attack my player character or sabotage me in some way. So that being said, I think it is important to really let the players know that these are meant to be shorter campaigns and and very difficult. The other thing that I'm wondering, and I'm going to try to test this out, is that if you are playing a criminal campaign, will that work in a convention setting? And that's an interesting thing, to ponder because I think it could be handled by handing each player at the table in secret a little envelope, and in that envelope will have little courses of action that they could take during the course of the adventure. Like you wouldn't hand them all to them in one shot, but you would hand them to them as the adventure is rolling out. That way, you're not foreshadowing or tipping them off on something that might happen, but you're giving them options based on what they had just done, where they can utilize this option at the closing of the game session, and then we'll determine how that how that scenario would have actually concluded based on those options that they chose. Maybe they escape prosecution because they've ratted out on the others, or perhaps based on the actions coming at them, the secret actions coming at them, they would have been prosecuted, and all blame lies upon them. So it's almost like playing, like a murder mystery, or those. It's like playing Clue, right? So they wouldn't necessarily know how it's going to end, but there are variables in that process. So that's one thing that I would consider doing if I was going to run this at a convention. But as far as a home game is concerned, a criminal campaign, you might also want to keep your group smaller. So I could see that working really well as a one-to-one, a game master plus one player. That would work out fairly well. Unless they really do wanted to set up like a crew or something like that. And I'm going to go into that kind of detail when I start going over the PDF with you and talking about this very specific topic. So without further ado, I am going to shift right to that now. So one thing that I think is important, probably more so for a criminal campaign, is the idea of fame or infamy, and in this particular case infamy, all right, and the long-term rewards of that, right? So I think it's building a character's both infamy and reputation, and and then some of these other long-term rewards as they're talking about here is more so important in a criminal campaign, I believe, than in a standard campaign where they're playing the good guys, right? So rewarding progress and engaging players in Gangbusters BX rewards are designed to keep players engaged, immersed, and feeling that their efforts matter. Whether they are earning XP for their actions, gaining valuable context, or boosting their reputation, every reward should drive the narrative forward and encourage players to engage with the game's themes, right? So, and you're going to do the same exact thing whether you're doing a criminal campaign or let's say a police officer campaign, or law enforcement campaign, I should say. The power of recognition. As the game judge, one of your key roles is to make sure the players feel their actions have consequences, that the stakes matter, and that their characters are recognized for their efforts in the gritty, dangerous world of Gangbusters BX. When they accomplish their goals, whether it's pulling off a successful heist, solving a major case, or surviving a shootout with rival gangsters, you have the power to reward them in ways that go beyond money and mundane rewards. The rewards should be reflective of the world they inhabit, immersive, and help foster a sense of growth and recognition within the game's framework. Not every reward needs to be financially needs to be financially, often prestige, connections, and recognition can serve as more valuable assets in the world of Gangbusters BX. So wealth and financial gains, that's pretty self-explanatory. Access to adventuring gears and a lifestyle expenses, so tools, equipment, and supplies can also be part of their rewards as well. Real estate, so that's an interesting one, and that's one that's pretty important if you're doing kind of a criminal organization kind of running, because they're going to need offices or warehouses or safe houses and such as well. And these are also mentioned, like hideouts, safe houses, and small office buildings, covert operations, and where they can gain protection from rival gangs or law enforcement and such. So there's a lot more going on in here. Players could also be rewarded with factory, which could serve as a perfect front for illegal operations such as bootlegging. It is a place to store goods, distribute products, or even house criminal equipment. All right, so all of these things kind of come into play, and you have to start thinking about this from the very beginning of a criminal campaign. Servants and minions. In a world like Gangbusters BX, loyalty and service are powerful commodities. Where it's a trusted ally or a shadowy minion, the connections players develop and support they gain can be critical to their success. Employees, lackeys, and minions, perhaps, excuse me, came out of nowhere. Perhaps the players earn the loyalty of a veteran bootlegger, a street-smart informant, or even personal bodyguard who becomes part of their growing organization. These characters are dedicated to their employers, working for them in exchange for protection or financial rewards. A fixer or a trusted accountant could assist in laundering money or smoothing over criminal transactions. Now, these kinds of support systems would work really well if you do have a small group of players, including just a solo player. So that would work out very well, because that is how you are going to flesh out their organization to start working with them. And they can have control over, a good deal of control over these minions, lackeys, and employees. So I highly recommend that you utilize these to a great extent for a criminal campaign. Contacts and influence, yes, and you're going to develop these over time, and some of these are going to become very, very important for their viability as a criminal organization. Access to information, people, markets, and connections, again, making those, spreading their influence, making these contacts, and bringing them into the fold, actually gaining control of them. Through a variety of means, whether it's bribery or threat or a genuine loyalty that you might develop, they might develop towards you as well, is also something very important to include in here. Contacts, again, very similar to those others that I spoke of already. Special privileges and recognition. So family honor is restored, criminal record is expunged, pardon of past crimes. So there are various things that you can achieve as you become much more powerful, and your recognition is going to rise. So this isn't for the street level thug more so than it is for the true boss of whatever criminal organization you're running. Shortcuts through bureaucratic red tape. So these are all other advantages that you can gain. These are special privileges and recognition that you can gain throughout the time that you're doing your campaign. Famous or infamous. A character's reputation will precede them, earning them respect, fear, or admiration from the people they interact with. Being famous can open doors. Perhaps a bartender at the Seventh Heaven Club looks the other way when a player walks in, or a club owner offers them a complimentary drink, and so on and so forth. Um, so, criminal campaigns. So, the criminal campaign, as far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Henry Hill from Goodfellas. All right. So, the 1920s was an era ripe with opportunity for those willing to live outside the law. With prohibition in full swing, organized crime surged, feeding the public's thirst for illegal liquor while reaping untold profits. Meanwhile, the Great Depression left many struggling to survive, forcing some to turn to crime to provide for their families. Whether it's running rum, robbing banks, or pulling off daring heists, the criminal life offered both an allure of fast money and constant danger of betrayal, law enforcement, and rival gangs. All right, and they give you a series of the number of movies that you can watch. All of these are great movies to watch as well. So what is a criminal campaign? A criminal campaign places the players in the role of outlaws navigating the treacherous underworld of 1920s. This type of campaign focuses on high-stakes action, complex relationships, and the moral ambiguity of living outside the law. Players portray rum runners, stick-up kids, bank robbers, or cunning con artists, characters who make their living through illicit activities and live on the edge. So the key themes of a criminal campaign, you have survival and opportunity. I'm not going to break down all of these, completely like reading word for word. Power and loyalty, glamour and consequences of crime, creating a criminal character. So let's focus on this one here. In a criminal campaign, players have the freedom to create characters with rich, complex backgrounds and motivations. Some ideas include a former factory worker turned rum runner to support their family after losing their job, a cunning safecracker with a reputation for being able to crack any vault, a flashy con artist who thrives on swindling the wealthy elite, a bank robber looking for one last big score before retiring. Criminal gameplay. So you have examples of scenarios that you can create as the game judge. So the big heist, the bootlegging run, double cross. So a crew is hired for a seemingly simple job but discovers they're being set up. All right, so that's a really interesting one too. Rivalry on the rise. So you have a rival gang that you will start working against as well. Challenges in a criminal campaign. Living the criminal life is not without its perils. Judges can introduce complications to keep the players on their toes, whether it's law enforcement, rival gangs, internal conflict. I mean, all of these I mentioned already before even getting to this section. So, unexpected twists. The criminal lifestyle is earning a living, spending spoils, and reputation. Tips for judges on running a criminal campaign. Focus on the crew dynamic. So you're going to focus at the player level. So the player character level. How are they working with each other? All right. And, so highlight the relationship and interplay between the player characters. Trust and betrayal should be central themes. Emphasize consequences. Every action has repercussions. A botched heist, a broken alliance, or an act of violence can have far-reaching effects. Keep the action fast-paced. Criminal campaigns thrive on adrenaline-fueled scenarios. Use car chases, shootouts, and tense negotiations to keep the players engaged. Incorporate moral dilemmas. Present players with difficult choices, such as sacrificing a crew member for the greater good of protecting the innocents at the cost of the mission, or protecting innocents at the cost of the mission. Sample adventure hook. So I'm not going to go into these sample adventure hooks, but in a criminal campaign, the players experience the thrill of living outside the law, balancing ambition and survival. And here we have some experience points rewards, suggested rewards, right? So we have successfully completing a heist, 500 experience per player. Uh, Next is evading law enforcement during a chase, 300. Negotiating a lucrative deal, 200. Establishing a safe house, 150. Recruiting a new member, 100. Eliminating a rival gang leader, 600. Smuggling goods successfully, 400. Pulling off a bank robbery, 600. Surviving a double cross, 350. Expanding territory, 300. Destroying evidence, 150. So you have a wide variety of things to consider when running and participating in a criminal campaign. Now, I wanted to talk real briefly, and I can switch out of here and go to this screen here. I do want to talk about the character classes, because if you're in a criminal campaign, all of the character classes are still applicable to you. You can use any of them, but some are going to lean more heavily into the stereotypical roles that you would think of for a criminal campaign. So I'm just going to turn to that really quick here and just go through and talk about those. I talk about those particular points here. So here are the basic classes, if you want to call them that. The class sets the tone for the character. It tells us how you fight, lie, investigate, escape, or survive. But this isn't about covering every base with military efficiency. This is pulp. This is chaos. It is better to have 3 bruisers arguing over who drives the getaway car than to have no bruisers at all. So you do want to consider having some balance in your criminal crew. But here are the classes that you can have. You can have brutish, all right? And it sounds pretty self-explanatory because it is, right? So this is muscle and menace and mayhem. You're built to break things such as doors and rules and people. So pretty common stuff. Whether enforcer or bodyguard, you don't ask questions. You let your fists do the punctuation. Connected. You know someone who knows someone, all right? And so it's always good in the organization to have somebody who has some connections. It could be to a dirty cop or a lawyer that you're going to deal with, whatnot. Educated. So educated, the sharpest weapon is your mind, scholar, doctor, or analyst. You see the patterns other than that others miss. Knowledge isn't just power, it's leverage, and you know how to use it, right? So, and yeah, you could be like a former banker, right? When the banks collapsed and everything like that, you could find yourself, on the street trying to put your skills to work. There are some very, very famous real world mobsters who are accountants and lawyers and such, and so that I think is an important thing to remember. The face, a smooth talker, smile sharp. You tell lies like truth and truth like legend. Cult leader, PR geniuses, or social climber. You're the mask the world wants to believe. All right, and so it's good to have a face kind of person in your grouping as well. A ghost. You move like rumor and vanish like smoke. All right, you get in, get out. No one remembers your face, your shadows, your whisper, your locked doors left open without a trace. All right, so this could be like a very stealthy button man kind of thing. Someone who goes in, kills, gets out, and nobody knows that you were there. No one remembers you, sees you, or whatnot. Inquisitive. Answers don't always stay buried long. You pry, poke, and push until the truth cracks open. Reporters, detectives, obsessed bystanders, curiosity is your drive, and trouble always follows. Yeah, so Inquisitor might not be so much of a great fit for your criminal organization, but if someone wants to play it, I'm sure that between the game judge and the player, they will make that work out. Mystic. So this is new from the basic edition. So reality doesn't end where science stops. You've glimpsed the unnatural, the forbidden, the uncanny. Whether fraud or profit, the strange speaks through you, and sometimes it answers back. So you have the mystic class now, and you might have uh, some clairvoyant or some means of through magic getting knowledge that you wouldn't normally have. Street smart, so this is going to be a very common one, along with like brutish and street smart are probably the two main ones that you would think of. Um, you know how the city breathes: scams, hustles, hiding places, payphones that still work. You've survived worse than this. You don't get lost. You're already home. All right, and then it goes into, it goes into the true breakdown of every character class, which I will spend on a little bit later on. But there's a lot to. I'm going to shift finally. There's a lot to running a criminal campaign, and turn off the spam phone calls. There's a lot to think about when you're creating a criminal campaign, and it's something for the players to really think about their characters and how they're going to interact with each other. And again, you have to make sure that they understand the challenges that they will be facing in the running of a criminal campaign. So again, I'm really excited about this. I'm really looking forward to digging in deeper into this. And if I do run Gangbusters at a convention, there is a definite possibility that I would do a criminal campaign or criminal game session, just as something that would be unique, that players at a convention would not have encountered from anybody else. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about it, and if it does happen, it'll happen sometime in 2026. Other things I'm waiting on. So I'm waiting on the judges screen that should be coming, I guess, soon, sometime soon. I know Don Samora was mentioning that. I asked about it, and he said that it's next or just about to be shipped or something along those lines. So I'm really looking forward to that, and excited. I mean, I'm really excited about this game system. I can't say it enough times, and looking forward to running it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for stopping in. Enjoy the rest of your week. 2 days out from a weekend, so looking forward to a great weekend for myself. And in about 8 days, I will be heading off to ShireCon. So it's the first con of what I consider to be my convention season from September to June. So looking forward to it, and seeing some old friends, and making some new ones, and just playing some great games. So you all have a great rest of your day, and thanks for stopping in. Remember to like and subscribe, and to comment in the comments section. On the end screen, I'm going to put up the end screen in a couple moments. I'm going to leave that up for a little bit, and there are QRC codes there where you can scan it. One is to join this channel, so you can do it there. You can also hit the little link that's on the bottom. But the other is to join my X account, and so you can join there and follow me over there as well. And there's also the link for the Discord server, so you can actually just type it up right off the screen that you're going to see on there. But you can also go into the descriptions of all of my videos and link to all of those things as well. So again, thanks for joining. You'll have a great rest of your day. I'm going to leave that end screen up for a few seconds, probably about 30 seconds, so it'll give you time to take a look at it. Have a great day.